Good afternoon. I guess I stand between you and the Java bar. So actually my presentation is fairly quick but very important. It is a culmination of everything we've talked about today. Can I have the first slide? Thank you. My name's Rene Novakoff, and I'm the research director at Southern Command. And I've been asked to talk about the customer's perspective on the RASER teams. We were lucky enough to be one of the first places to get a RASER team. I'm going to talk a little bit about the process, what we went through, and how effective they were. About a year ago, our D&I rep came to me and said, Rene, there's this new organization that the D&I is started trying to create this exemplary force of analysts. They want some research topics from each of the commands, and some research topics that are a little bit out of the ordinary, where they could use information from open source as well as other places. So I gave him a set of research topics. About 3 months later, 3 to 6 months later, he came back to me and said, remember those research topics? They liked them. Do you want to be part of the team to try out these analysts? So I said, sure. Being Southern Command, we don't have a whole lot of analysts there compared to many of the other commands. Any chance to have new folks come in and get extra help is always appreciated. So my first introduction to this group of analysts was back in July. I was in DC for other meetings, and the RASER team management invited me to come in and meet the analysts. I sat around a table with 8 young, very young analysts, and they started asking me very insightful, thoughtful questions, clearly excited about the prospects of what they're going to do. I walked away from that meeting extremely impressed, and I knew this was going to be a good experience. A lot of the things that, the types of questions they were asking me, again, things that go back to what we were talking about today. They asked me about technology. What kind of technology did we have? Could they log into specific programs, et cetera? Clearly well-trained. They also, one of the other key things about them that really struck me, again, they were eager. They wanted to get started with their projects right away. The first team that came down, in fact, they already had a big chunk of their project done when they got there. These clearly were new analysts who really wanted to go out and make a difference. The thing that struck me when people ask me about this, the RASER thing, the thing that has struck me the most is exactly this. It's a new kind of analyst. These folks know how to work together. We keep talking about collaboration. That's what they do. But at the same time, they can work alone. They don't need a lot of management, but they're eager to take any suggestions. One of the other things they did, again, that struck me at that first meeting in July up in DC, they asked me about the organization. A lot of questions about the Southcom organization. They were trying to figure out how to fit in. And the essence of the RASER team, all the details are in the book, but the essence is they go in and help out where there's crisis, where there's need. And they need to be able to fit in the organization. Well, that lesson has been learned by these folks. Lots of questions about not just the organizational chart, about the kind of people, about how we do our business. And they clearly listened to what I had to say, because when they got to Southcom, the 3 folks that we've had this first 2-month period, they knew exactly how to fit in. They also went out of their way to figure out other aspects of the organization. The second week we were there, they were there, we had our new analyst class going on. They asked to sit in on the new analyst class and hear what the new analysts, our Southcom analysts, kinds of questions they were asking. Again, going out of their way to fit in. Some of the things that they worked on while they were at Southcom, one of the analysts was actually going to deploy down to Latin America, and at the last minute things came up, not on his fault, so that he couldn't. But he became part of one of our analytical teams. In a 6-week period, he became an expert on this one country. Wrote 4 papers that have already been published. I know we're not supposed to talk about numbers, but 4 very good papers. One of the other 2 worked on a project that was built, for the most part, out of Google Earth, using Google Earth, as well as a lot of open source material. It's an infrastructure project that's going to be a part of IPE, the Intelligence Preparation of the Environment. One of those folks is going to come back, we hope, in October as part of yet another rotation and participate in an exercise that we have, a tabletop exercise. But the team was so impressive that the next team that comes out, we're going to have them work on a project, a red cell type of project. It's one of our hard targets, something we've been working on for several years now. We want them to look at how we've done the analysis on this project and tell us where we could improve. Not necessarily the analysis, but how we've done it, how we've gone about doing it, and see if they can help us improve on our system of what we've done. Now, I promised you this would be quick, and this is the final slide. The bottom line really is, if this is the future of our analysts, then the future's promising. I'll tell you, it's had a great influence on my analysts at Southcom. They've asked about the RASER team, how they get to be, how they can apply. They've asked the RASER team folks for help on some of the technologies that they've brought with them. And they're coming to us saying, we want this training. We want the kind of training they've had on the analytical side. I'm not sure about some of the other training that they've had. But again, the bottom line is, as I told the team that just left, these folks give me great hope about the future of analysis in the intelligence community. Now, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all have that I can answer. If not, I have experts out here on the RASER team. How do I get this? Are there any? I can't see very well with the lights. There we go. How can we take principles from RASER team and apply it to our older analysts who really want to transform? I think what we could do is take a look at some of the training, the analytical training that they've had, condense it, and send some of our folks to that. They're also, right now, the RASER team is for the younger analysts who've been there, what is it, less than 3 years? Less than 5 years. Less than 5 years. Down the road, as this continues, I don't see why we couldn't include other analysts who've been in the community longer. What are the greatest challenges of scaling your success? Whoever asked that question, help me out with what you mean by that. Thank you. Well, I think right now, what we're seeing, Reed Doherty, who's the father of the RASER team folks, has already said he's got a lot more applicants this year. He's got all great applicants. If we can have more folks helping to oversee them, then we can have more teams of RASER team. There's a question about the nature of the training, and I'd really like to turn that over to Reed. Do I see you out there? There you are. Can you talk about some of the training in this forum?
Sure. What's the question? I'll do my best to answer.
Can you discuss in this forum the nature of the training?
Nature of the training. Sure. It's sort of a crawl, walk, run curriculum and program. The first 6 months is the analytic boot camp, which has been mentioned here. That is primarily analytic training and methodology. Red Sail, tabletop exercises, classroom, lectures, tutorials. We bring in topic experts. That's the majority of the first 6 months. There's also an operational security component to that. That is, you've seen some of the pictures up there. Please don't be misled by that at all. That portion is for it's team building, and there's always an analytic thread running through these exercises when they are in the woods. And it's also, quite frankly, to teach analysts how to take care of themselves when they do deploy to an overseas environment that's a little more inhospitable than other places. Fundamentals. The second 6 months is the on-the-job training portion. And that is right now with Rene is so graciously hosting us at Southern Command. They're also with a large law enforcement operation now as well. And then at their headquarters in DC. So everyone gets 2 months at each location. So they're exposed to military environment and the vernacular, the culture, in case they have to support a military deployment or combatant command or operation someday. They get exposure to law enforcement experience as well, and how they work issues. And then from home, they learn to support a team in the field, in this case, the team down at Southcom. And then finally, that takes the end of the first year. The second year, which will be approaching at the end of December, that would be the operational year. Well, we'll be looking at locations to deploy the team.
I think there's one more question which you probably can answer better than I can, and that's, do you accept applicants that are contractors?
No, right now we aren't set up to do that at the moment. Unfortunately, someday we'd like to look at potentially expanding the program to contractors and maybe even academia and private sector as well. But right now, we just have some constraints where it's U.S. government only at the moment.
Thank you very much.